Doug again, getting ready to talk about some other parts of the course here. Now, I'm going to skip over the course description and course outcomes for the moment. That's something that we're going to get into a little bit, a couple of sections down here. What I want to do here is to focus in on the things that you're going to need for the class and the things that you're going to need to know in terms of understanding how the grades are going to be calculated for the class. So first of all, we need to make sure that we have the right materials for the class. Everybody needs to have access to the CHEM book. It's called Chemistry. It's the 13th edition, and it's available through McGraw-Hill. You can get it at the bookstore if you'd like to. You also need access to McGraw-Hill's Connect online software. I just want to make sure that everybody knows, though, that if you purchase the Connect online software, the passcode gives you access not only to that software, but also to the ebook. So it's exactly the same as the regular textbook. So if you don't want to have, or if you don't want to purchase the hard copy version of the textbook, you don't have to. If you want to, you can. Okay, so really the bare minimum thing that you have to purchase is the Connect homework software. Okay, and again, you can get that at the bookstore, or you can actually get it directly through the website and through the Moodle page for this class. All right. Other resources that you're going to need a scientific calculator. If you have any question as to what or whether or not your calculator is scientific or not, just look at it, and if you can't figure out what half the buttons do, then it's probably a scientific calculator. Okay, you're also going to need to have a flash drive. Okay, when we do our lab activities in the classroom, you're going to need to download data that you collect. And the only way to do that is through a flash drive. So you need to make sure you and every single student needs to have their own flash drive, and you need to have it with you every single class. Okay? Now, when we're getting together face to face, we're going to be doing lab work. And that lab work requires that we have safety protocol in place, and one of those safety protocols is that you have to be wearing safety glasses. We do have safety glasses in the laboratory, but given the current environment in terms of COVID and all that, you're probably better off purchasing your own safety glasses. You will also be provided with a face shield that you're going to have to wear while we're doing laboratory activities. Now, the lab coat is recommended mostly because some of the chemicals that we work with are kind of bright in color and sometimes a little bit corrosive, and they can damage your clothing. But the lab coat's by no means required for the class. In terms of the way that the grades are calculated and how the grades are distributed, as you can see here, the grade distribution is the same as every other course on campus. So just like most other classes, you need to get at least a C in order to move on to part 2 of this class. That's Chem 102. So that's 73.4 there is the bare minimum. Okay. But please make sure that you stay in contact with your advisor so that you know what you need to get to the next level of your particular program. Okay, the other thing I want to point out here is that you'll see that the grades are broken down by percentages. Okay, there's going to be 2 midterm exams worth a total of 30% of your grade. Okay, there's going to be lab reports, usually about 10 of them that can vary depending upon how fast we move through the labs, for a total of 20% of your grade. And then we have these 2 different types of assignments here, the pre-lecture and the post-lecture assignments. The pre-lecture are what we call Learn Smart assignments. Okay, you might want to write that down. A Learn Smart assignment is a Connect software assignment that you complete after reading the chapter. So ideally, the week before we start talking about a particular chapter, you will have read the chapter in the book and completed the Learn Smart exercise. Okay, the post-lecture is what we call a homework assignment. So it's just a typical homework assignment, a set of problems that you have to complete before we get started with the next chapter. Okay, and then there's the final exam, which is worth 20% of your total grade. Okay, and what I really want to emphasize here is that if you look at the way these grades are distributed, you see that the lab reports, the pre-lecture, and the post-lecture assignments, which are all things that you do from home, okay, on your own time, and have as many opportunities as you want to get correct, account for half of the grade. Okay, so half of your grade, there's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to get all those points. Both the Learn Smart and the homework assignments allow you to take as many tries as you'd like to get the highest grade that you can. And for the lab reports, you have almost a week to work on those, and you're free to come to my office hours and discuss those lab reports with me. Okay, so again, there's really not much of an excuse for not getting all those points. And then if you have some issues with test anxiety, well, then the midterms and the finals aren't going to have as heavy as a weight, or sorry, as heavy of a weight in your final grade calculation. Okay. Now, one thing you might have noticed when looking at the grading scheme there was that we didn't have any points for attendance. Okay, in the past, I would have had attendance points, but with the way things are going right now, between possible snow days and possible closures to COVID, and not to mention the fact that some of you may have to be quarantined, or there's any number of things that keep us from being able to depend on attendance, at least face-to-face, in-person attendance. So we've taken the emphasis off of that for the most part. Okay, that doesn't mean you don't need to show up for class. It just means that if you do have to miss class, it's not going to have a big effect on your grade. Okay. If for any reason you have to miss a face-to-face session of class, please make sure you contact me. That way we can work on getting you a laboratory simulation that you can carry out from home. Now, like I said before, there's going to be a couple of exams. So we have 2 midterm exams and 1 final exam. These will always take place on Thursdays. And as you can see, this is where they're spelled out. Okay, so the first exam is on Thursday, March 4th. The second's Thursday, April 15th. And then the final exam is going to be on Thursday, May 13th. These are all going to be completed from home, which means you need to be logged into the Google Meet for this class. And that's that same exact link that I showed you earlier on the web address there. All right, so we'll talk more about that when we get closer to the exams. But please make sure that these dates are absolutely blocked out on your schedule. You need to be there to take these exams. All right, so I think I'm going to wrap up this video here, and we'll come back in the next video to talk about the next section.